Who was sadder, you or me, to see you go last night?
Girl, I think we were both weeping. It was
I was
both.
weeping.
Uh-huh.
I was really rooting for you. I
Oh,
think
I was
you had
rooting
something
for
special.
you. Yeah, I know. It
You
was
were rooting for me. For what?
for you to just succeed in this career of yours. I mean,
Oh,
you're
thank you.
so
You're
good
so
at talking
kind.
into the microphone.
Well, welcome, Terra Nova. I
You.
I thought you brought something special to the show, an interesting point of view,
Right.
and was so happy when in episode one there were no eliminations because it
Mhm.
gave you a chance to stick around a little bit more. I
Yeah.
don't think your alien was that bad at
No,
all, and I
I
liked what you wore.
yes, I totally agree. Not only in my runways was I just like showing heritage, like showing who I am, but like even with the alien, I was showing who I am. Like I'm not just a pretty face. Like I'm willing to be ugly and act a
Yeah.
fool and like just be funny, you know? Like I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Do you think the judges got the heritage part of what you were wearing?
I
Because
think
it's
that it
if you
may
know,
be
you
lost.
know.
Yeah, if you know, you know. Like you really, really know. It may have been lost on them. Not everybody knows of Newfoundland's heritage or history. I'm like the
No.
Newfoundland historian after this season. So maybe it was lost on them a bit, but I thought that the proportions were great.
I thought they were great, and I love the bow tie.
Yes, exactly. His iconic, iconic polka dot bow ties.
You say a lot of people don't know a lot about Newfoundland, and I would agree with you there. A lot
Hmm.
of people watching this are from urban centers. Tell us a bit about being queer and being a drag queen in Newfoundland, what that's like.
Well, it can be very interesting. It really depends on like where you live. Basically, if you don't live within the city, like St. John's, which is all the way east, like as far east as you can go on the island, then you are kind of like an alien. Like I was in that PSA. Like you live in these rural communities sometimes and you're the only queer person. And like you walk in rooms and people are whispering, people are hushing. They're like, "Oh, that's the one. That's the one."
There's the
Like
gay.
yeah, that's the gay. That
Yeah.
oh, the gays are so scary. So it can feel that way sometimes, and sometimes it is that way, and it's very unfortunate. But if you come to St. John's, is a very fruity city, and you can like really live your full life here. And I was so glad that when I turned 18, I moved directly to the city, and then in a few years after that, I became Terra Nova.
Um, is it true that you only make $37 a show?
So
That was a
before
shocker.
when I was at Drag Race and before I went to Drag Race, it was 37.50.
What's the 50 cents for?
I don't know, some candy from the store. Like, girl, that's all that you'll buy from that, like those little bags of candy. When I first started drag 3 years ago, it was $0, and then people fought for pay. It became 37.50. When I returned from Drag Race, they seen more of a value in drag, seeing that it was a little bit more worthwhile since girls were getting on the show, and they raised it to 60. But still, 60 is not fair compensation for the amount of numbers and how much we have to invest in drag to make it worth
No, it's
seeing.
expensive.
Very expensive.
You said something to me that sort of broke my heart a little bit. You said um, that you had the weight of representing the Maritimes on your shoulders.
Yeah.
And I wonder why you queens do that to yourselves, because you're not the first person to say that they are representing a region and they feel a lot of pressure
No.
in doing that. Why do you do that?
Well, I think that specifically with the East Coast, like the Atlantic provinces, is that we don't get selected for this kind of thing much. Like we don't get to go to Drag Race. It's always girls from these urban centers that usually are priority over us. So when we do get there, we feel a pressure to really succeed and really show what we're made of because we want everybody else to get these opportunities.
I guess maybe the thing to consider is that you ended up cast on a hit TV show, and
Mhm.
that in and of itself is success enough, and
Girl,
that
and not just
the
a hit
Maritimes should be
TV
very
show,
proud of you.
a hit season. Like this season is everything. Our cast was unbelievably stacked. Every one of us were talented and we were respective icons in all of our respective scenes.
A couple of queens could have gone before you, I'm just saying.
Oh, girl, I totally agree. Like, let's name them right now. Like, let's go down the list.
Tell us about your grandmother because she's your biggest fan, your inspiration. She has pushed you to be authentic and continue exploring makeup artistry, which you were doing, which led to drag.
Yes.
And that's such a wonderful story because people of that generation
Yeah.
are usually anti or appalled or don't understand or confused. Your grandmother was not that person.
No, so like unfortunately my grandmother had passed away a few years ago, but that is what inspired me to start drag. So it was 3 years ago, like almost to this date, that my grandmother had passed away. And she was always so fond of my makeup skills. So I've been doing makeup since I was like 13, like 12 or 13. And she always pushed me to do better. And I remember before she passed away, the nurses came in and seen a picture of me with makeup on, and they went, "Oh, who's that?" And she went, "That's my grandson. He's very good like that." And when the nurse told my mom that, and she relayed the message to me, it really spoke to me. And after she passed away, I was looking for something to inspire me, and drag and sewing did that.
What a unique woman she was.
Yes.
Something you also said, it was in episode one, you were upset about the critiques of your first runway look
Mm-hmm.
because you'd put your heart into it. And I think that's what I loved about you is that you lead with your heart.
Mm-hmm.
It was very apparent through the first two episodes that we saw. You
Exactly.
said it's not easy to create what you created in Newfoundland.
No.
Well, what do you mean by that?
Is that we have such a lack of resources here, and like if we were like and everything also costs more because of like import fees on fabric and stuff, and if we were to get things shipped here, it's hard to get it on time to be able to get it to drag race with us. Everything takes a crazy amount of time to get here, on top of when we were prepping for drag race there was a strike at Canada Post, there was the Lunar New Year, so it's almost like you feel a little bit stuck. It's like, okay, well, I have to make do with what I have. I have to make this work because this is my one opportunity to be given this platform. So I was given the platform, I made it work, I got there, I said my piece, and I made a huge impact, even in just 2 episodes.
Yeah, you did. You really did. How did it feel to be first one out? Because that's always that
Oh, it was
place no one wants to be.
no, I lost a lot of faith in myself. I felt like I let the entire East Coast down. I couldn't even
Oh,
look in the mirror at that point.
really?
Yeah, I kind of lost myself completely. It was a complete like it was a breakdown for me because I was like, whoa, everybody says that like I'm meant for drag race, like I'm meant for this kind of thing. And then I got there and it was like kind of a shocker. Like it took me back for a minute. And then you have these months before the show comes out and you're constantly doubting yourself. And there's people looking at rumors and they're coming up to you and they're saying, "Oh, well, I know what happened." And it's like, "Oh, well, you're making me really uncomfortable right now and you don't realize it and you don't know how uncomfortable I am in my daily life." But now I've come around a lot. I've seen myself on the TV and I love myself on the TV. I think that I'm so good at TV and I'm excited to do more TV.
How did you come around? What did you do?
It was more so a lot of my sisters, like from the actual cast, encouraging me, my loved ones here at home, as well as like actually finally seeing it finalized on the screen in front of me. I went, okay, one, I'm so hot. And
And
two, my personality, Brooklyn was right in the first episode. She said that I am so warm. She could sit down and talk to me for
yes,
ages
you are.
because I am somebody that enjoys the gab. I have the gift of the gab, and
Yeah.
that makes some great TV. And I'm also very bold.
People from the East Coast, I think, are warmer than the rest of the country, based on my experience. No offense to the rest of the
Yeah,
country.
no, no, no. Like, no offense. It's I think that is just because we have such a small community of people, so we learn to appreciate people.
It seems to me your look is much more elevated right now
Oh
than
yeah,
it was on the show.
definitely.
Has that changed for you?
Yes, and like that's why it's so important to go to the show.
Yeah.
Even if like you look in the mirror at yourself and you get casted for Drag Race and you go, "Oh, like I'm booger, like I'm going to be the booger of the season." It's
The
so
booger
important
of the
to
season.
go the booger of the season. Yeah. The one that everybody spots out and goes, "Oh, she's the one that's not really going to succeed." It's still important to be there and be that person because you watch it back and you go, okay, these are some things that I should change. These are things that I can change. And if you're willing and want to put that work in, then you can.
Did you feel discounted at all in the first two episodes by the other queens? Maybe because of where you're
No,
from, or
no, not
you
necessarily.
didn't look like
Everybody
that.
there had actually known me before I got to the show, which was huge because like all of these major city girls knew who this girl from a small city was because I really made an impact even before I got there because I was known as like a seamstress look queen with obviously like the best makeup in Canada. So everybody knew who I was. The thing was is that they didn't doubt me. They had very, 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 very high expectations for me.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I saw. What's next for you? What are you doing now?
Next for me is I want to design and create for the season 6 girlies. I want to design and create for anybody literally in this country. I've had a lot of DMs, which is great. I look forward to working with people and I look forward to traveling. I want to travel more of Canada. I've only been as far as Toronto and like I haven't been to Quebec. I haven't been to any of the other provinces. And I want to go and show them what it is to be a newbie.
Well, really nice to meet you. Sad to see you go,
You.
Terra Nova. Thanks so much for your time today. Appreciate you.
Thank you so
Wish you
much.
great success.
Thank you.
That was great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh
Are
my.
you booked all day with interviews?
Yes, yeah. This is
Nice.
a very press heavy day.
Well, enjoy and really
Thank
nice to meet you. Wish you all the
you
best.
too, babes. All
Bye.
right. Bye now.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you, Amy.